All right, welcome back to the channel. So Canelo Alvarez proves Deontay Wilder right. If you thought I wasn't going to make this video, you are wrong. Canelo Alvarez just proved why Deontay Wilder should not have signed with Dazn. And if it was not for a bunch of cheating folk over there in the UK, his decision would have been absolutely magnificent. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, a little background before I rub this in your faces, because many people that would come by this channel for a while kept saying, Deontay Wilder, he's so wrong. He was so dumb. He turned down $100 million. How do they say it? Dollars? Whatever. He turned down $100 million. He turned $120 million. He turned $200 million down. You know, he should have signed with Dazn. He's terrible. His career will never be the same. Look what Canelo did. They're the biggest thing in sports. And then Canelo left yesterday. And why did he leave? He left because Dazn and Golden Boy were getting him something fierce. Getting him something fierce. Did not negotiate with him fairly. Did not provide him all of the information that he should have had in order to make an educated decision. He went with a big number. And now we see what happened. Dazn and Golden Boy, according to Canelo Alvarez, conspired to beat him out of about $60 million. $20 million, what's the $20 million for the Rocky Fielding fight, and an extra $5 million per fight on top of his $33 million that he said he was supposed to be getting. So what did Canelo Alvarez do? He accused Dazn and Oscar De La Hoya of fraud, of concealment, obviously breach of contract, violation of a fiduciary duty, interference with a contractual relationship, negligent interference with a contractual relationship. All of those. All of them. And guess what? All of it would have went out the window because Canelo Alvarez had signed an arbitration clause with Golden Boy where they thought they had a backstop, right? If everything else goes wrong and Oscar and he finds out about all this stuff, at least we can make him go to an arbitrator and not take him to the court of law. Somehow that did not work for him. I think it's because Dazn and Oscar De La Hoya were starting to get very bad press, especially when it comes out the reason why they're not even trying to, why they think what they think that should happen with that case. And what they thought should happen with that case is that Canelo Alvarez shouldn't even have an opportunity to go to court. That we should just give it to one of our buddies that'll make a decision for us that we like. Now, you can say that I'm wrong about that, but you cannot tell me that I'm wrong about the fact that Canelo Alvarez left what was said to be the biggest contract in sports history. Wound up being something that Canelo Alvarez himself believed was a sham. And that they tried to renege on. But yet, Deontay Wilder doesn't know what he's doing. Because people were all over the place saying, you need to sign with Dazn. It's a $100 million contract. You're crazy. You'll never make this money. But what did Deontay Wilder say? What did he say about the contract? He said that he and his people sat down with Dazn and Dazn was not prepared. They did not have answers to questions like, will Anthony Joshua actually be available for a fight if I sign with you? They were unable to answer that question more than likely. Do you know why? Because Anthony Joshua, to this day, is not signed with Dazn. He is signed with Matchroom. And I do believe, to this day, that Eddie Hearn can take him where he wants to take him. At least that's my belief. But I know for certain he was not going to be on that contract or be available to fight Deontay Wilder. So what would have happened if Deontay Wilder would have taken that huge deal with Dazn that he was so stupid for not taking? A couple things could have happened. He could have went the Demetrius Andrade way, where Demetrius Andrade was a big signing, whoop-de-doo, boop-de-doop, and then he never got no fights. Okay? Because Demetrius Andrade was the first major signing over there, and Demetrius Andrade did not get a Canelo Alvarez fight. He did not get a Gennady Golovkin fight. He ain't getting no Charlo fight. He did not get a Billy Joe Saunders fight. He literally, they want to put this guy on the undercard for Daniel Jacobs. And that's what Demetrius Andrade got for signing with Dazn. It's a joke. Everybody should have seen this coming. Everybody should have seen this coming. And many, many people did see it coming, including Deontay Wilder. So, maybe what I said has some merit. You're going to either choose to be famous or to be wealthy in boxing. And you have to decide which two is it going to be. Because now, major promoters, let's talk about all of the superstars that, despite the fact that they were superstars, all left the promoters that they were with for financial reasons. Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao. It keeps going and going and going. Trust me, later on in his career, it's going to be Anthony Joshua. It is going to be Tyson Fury, because they hang with people who are less than, how can I say this, ethically responsible. And when they are screwing other people for your benefit, everything is hunky-dory. But you better believe that what goes around comes around, especially when you're dealing with big businessmen that only see dollars and think they're smarter than you, because they are smarter than you. You think because you're a famous boxer that you know what an arbitration clause is, that this money is just, I'm just going to give this to my people. They'll handle it. I just give this to my people. They'll handle it. And they're going to come back to you with something fair and something that is going to, where they've had all the bases covered. No. What you're going to get is something that works for you, works for the manager that you sent, and works for the person that you sent the manager to talk to, because you are not in the room and because you don't know what's going on with your own agreements. And that was not a hole that Deontay Wilder fell into. Deontay Wilder took his business with Dazn very, very seriously. He considered the offer that was put forward. He brought his team in. He made sure his team asked the relevant questions, and that he, Deontay Wilder, understood the answers. That's what it looked like to me. What happened with Canelo Alvarez, on the other hand, was that more than likely Canelo Alvarez let somebody else handle his business for him. And they let that stuff get slipped by. Obviously they did, because it was Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya built in an extra $5 million a fight. That would be $10 million a year into Canelo, on top of Canelo's contract, for himself, for Golden Boy promotion and Golden Boy features. What does that mean? Canelo Alvarez is like 90% a Golden Boy. 90% of it. He don't need you. He can have somebody else do the undercards. But you live and you learn. And Canelo has lived and learned. We've been telling Canelo, matter of fact, I remember saying this about this ahead of time, that people were saying after HBO shut down, where's Canelo going to go? And my thought was, well, he should go to the PBC because that makes the most sense. Because he doesn't need a promoter. He's Canelo. What does he need a promoter for? The promoters need him. All he needs to do is have somebody put his name on there and go train to fight and show up at this point, because Fox will promote him. Showtime will promote him. They ain't asking that. And you don't need to pay Oscar De La Hoya all that money. $5 million. So just so you know what it wound up being, Dazn and Oscar De La Hoya had a $440 million contract, not a $360 million contract. That was supposed to go to Canelo. However, they reneged on it because they want him to fight people and do things that he didn't want to do, I suppose. But whatever happened, Canelo found out that Dazn was paying Oscar De La Hoya a lot more money than he thought. And that was underhanded, and that's why Canelo left. And Deontay Wilder was smart for not getting himself in that situation. That was excellent judgment. Anyway, that is my take on the matter. You let me know yours. And with that, I'm out. Peace.